why is jiu-jitsu so fun that it occupies so much of your mental capacity, so it occupies so much of your time, training or even not training, thinking about it?
I guess I could say just a general answer. I like it. I like the art, right? So you can say that. Same as anything else that anybody does. You know, if you go skydiving or if you do, you know, scuba diving or something like that, you love it. You love everything about it. You work at it. But for me, jiu-jitsu is like I'm always trying to improve myself, right? So jiu-jitsu in kind of way is a continuous improvement. You never ever reach the perfect jiu-jitsu player, right? You're always trying to the endless travel or the endless journey to try to get better and better and better and better and better. You know, tap people easier, be able to deal with larger people better. I mean, it's all that stuff, right? Being able to get out of mount better, easier from anybody, you know. It's like an endless search to get better. So it's just, for me, I like that. You know, same as going for a college degree, or people will go for like masters and doctorates degrees. They're endless search to get better, you know. I like the fact that, you know, jiu-jitsu for me, we talked about it once before, you know, like kind of the reason why I stuck with jiu-jitsu is because I took boxing and stick fighting and stuff like that. And there's a lot of differences in the arts, but, you know, how do you want to win the fight, you know, and kind of that conversation we had about, you know, like when parents come in, they say, hey, you know, what martial arts did my kid take, right? I said, well, I mean, you know, how do you want to win the fight? You know, you get in a fight, kind of like we talked about before, kind of down and dirty, this is a street fight. How do you want to win the fight? Want to punch the guy till he's a bloody mess and win the fight? That's any kind of punching and kicking art, right? That's how you win the fight. Do you want to stick fighting? You want to beat the guy with a stick to death? You want to, if you're knife fighting, you want to stab the guy to death to win the fight? Probably not going to play out really well for you as far as legal matters go. I like the fact that I can get in a fight, I can handle myself. Most of the time when you get in a fight, people are looking to, their ego is damaged, they kind of want to, or they're idiots and they want to, you know, show that they're tougher than you. They're not really interested in killing you. Sometimes they are, but they want to get in a fight and they want to, you know, make a drunk guy in the bar. Do you really want to beat that guy to pulp, to a bloody mess, to where he's physically his face is like distorted, you know, to win the fight? Because that's the only way you know how to fight. Or do you want to just choke the guy out, put him to sleep, and have his wife take him home and put him to bed because he drank a little bit too much? I like that option. I like the option to be able to, it sounds kind of bad, but I like the option to be able to have the skill to be able to beat the guy to a bloody pulp. I mean, that said, I don't want to beat anybody to a bloody pulp, but I want the option to say, hey, I have the ability to do that, and I do, but I choose to choke you, put you to sleep, and control you, and I have that ability. I like the ability to choose. Yeah. I don't like the fact that I take an art and then my only option, because that's the only thing I know, is to beat the guy to bloody pulp. I don't like that. I don't like those, you know. I think situations, I mean, the situations in your life are not so cut and dry, you know. So you get in a situation, do you always have to take a bat to the situation? Cops have a wide range of situations to get into, right? So I mean, not that you have all the money in the world to pay for all the training, and not that cops are actually interested in all that kind of training, but for a wide range of situations, you have to have a wide range of answers if you want to solve it in a way that you want.
You know that when you talk about with the options, the analogy I have for that I teach is what I call the crazy uncle at Thanksgiving option, because the joke about everybody's Thanksgiving dinner is that the whole family comes in, they get together for that once or twice a year, you know, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and you always have that crazy uncle who drank too much and he just starts talking and he says a bunch of stuff that he probably doesn't mean, but that ends up getting people upset. And the last thing you want to do is you want to come to blows with a relative at a family dinner. So jiu-jitsu gives you the option of being able to subdue the crazy uncle without having to hurt him, and you can just, I don't know what you do, but subdue him. Let's say you just mount him and hold him down and just kind of get him to calm down. All right, Uncle, are you calm? Good, okay. And then after he's calm and he calms down and you diffuse the situation, then you help him back up, give him a big hug, and then you continue on with your night. Without having had to hurt him, because that's the only way you know how to stop things.
Well, I got a good one for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so remember that conversation about parents and their kids, right? So parents come to you and ask us, hey, what should I put my kid in? I says, well, if your kid gets in a fight inside school, how do you want him to win the fight? They go, and most parents, they don't really have an idea, because most parents that come to us, they don't have a fighting background, right? So they don't know. They just want their kid to be able to protect themselves, right? But then I always kind of, when I tell the parents, I talk to them a little bit, and I talk to them and tell them, I say, okay, so put yourself in a situation of your son, he gets in a fight. You're trying to get your son to defend himself or your daughter to defend herself, right? So what's going to happen? So a kid attacks your son or your daughter. How do you want them to fight? I want them to be able to defend themselves. I says, okay, that's a very general answer to a very specific question, right? So I tell them, it's okay, so you teach them boxing. Let's just go with boxing, right? Boxing does what? Most people know about boxing, right? Boxing, they punch. They punch very hard. So, and they learn how to punch, very, very well. So you watch a lot of videos, and you find people that they get punched in the right spot, and they fall down and they pass out. That sound good to you? They said, most parents will say, I think so, yes, right? It's okay, so your son punched somebody else and knocked him out, and they fell on the ground, and they passed out, and that's the way you want him to fight. What if he didn't pass out? And he keeps punching and punching and punching and punching. The guy doesn't punch in the right spots. He just doesn't punch in the right spots. The person doesn't pass out. So he keeps on punching, and then the person turns to a bloody mess, and he wins the fight. He defended himself. Are you okay with that? They go, and this is, they're 10 years old. You okay with that? I go, I'm not so okay with that anymore, right? And then who's going to be in the principal's office? The kid who attacked him, or your son or your daughter that defend themselves? In that situation, probably there's going to be some legal ramifications, right? You're going to go to court. There's going to be a lot of problems and stuff like that. I would prefer to see the situation turn to where he knows a little bit of jiu-jitsu, and your son or your daughter took the person down, controlled the fight, sat on top of him, and called for the teacher. The teacher came, that person got in trouble, and your son and daughter did not get in trouble, right?
And nobody got hurt.
And nobody got hurt, yeah. Kind of like when I was telling about my son. He learned a little bit of jiu-jitsu, just a little bit, and he got in a fight, and some kids were bullying him, so he got in a fight, and then teacher, the way I found out about it is the teacher called up my wife and told her that, hey, your son got in a fight at school. It's like, oh man. It's like, what happened? And he says, well, your son did a very good job, and we're very, very proud of your son. So you don't get to hear that too often, that the teacher is proud of your son getting in a fight in school, right? So what happened is the kid was bullying him, and then my son kind of took the kid down, sat on top of him, and then spread out and just kind of sat on top of him. And then sometimes he put his hand underneath his head, right? So then the kid, he just held the kid. My son got his knuckles all scraped up because the kid he couldn't get out from underneath my son. So he understood that my son's hands was underneath him. So what he did is he moved his body so my son's knuckles would scrape on the cement, right? So he was trying to hurt my son. But he just controlled the fight. Teacher came. Teacher broke up the fight, and it's all over. Teacher says, I'm very proud of your son. He just held the person down, held the bigger kid down until the teacher could come. Fight's all over. That's a better outcome for me, So that's why I like jiu-jitsu, and that's why I like the art. And parents can choose whatever art they want, But I think parents should consider, how do you want your child to be able to win that fight? What's that ending going to look like?
Yeah. Yeah, I just tell people the reason why they want their child to learn jiu-jitsu is because you want them to, number one, be able to defend themselves, but at the same time, you don't want to have a walking lawsuit.
Yeah. Definitely, right.